Well, if you're a disciple of Christ, how do you expect to be treated better than Christ was treated? Well, if you're joining us in reading through this month's reading plan, today's reading is Isaiah 53, 1 through 12, and I encourage you to read that passage. Well, Isaiah 53 reminds us of how common Christ was. He wasn't a kingly type of person. He didn't stand out from the crowd, and if you passed him on the street, you might not even take notice of him. And yet, his greatness, through his sacrifice, is to be our example. As we read this chapter, we're reminded that we are to be like Christ, 1 John 3:2. We are to look like Christ, we are to act like Christ, and we are to suffer not only in the same way, or not necessarily in the same way, but certainly not for the same purpose. But nonetheless, we're going to suffer at some point. And this paragraph reminds us of exactly who we are. We are those who are to lay down our lives for Christ. We are those who are to minister to others so sacrificially that they come to the point where their lives change. And we are to offer others what Christ offered us. Now, it's kind of a scary thought. We're to be so much like Christ that our offering will minister to people's lives. What we do will not save anybody. We're not their sacrifice. But what we will do will cause others to come to us and emulate Christ through us, or not emulate him, depending on what we do. People see what we do, and if we profess Christ, we'd better be servants. Yesterday, some of us remembered a servant of Christ. I had the blessing of presiding over a memorial service for Marshall Messick. Most of us did not know him, but he was a man who loved and desired to be like Christ, and in everything he did, you could see Christ being emulated. God saw fit to allow him to go through ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, and in my conversations with him before he died, he was not bitter, but rather he praised God for the opportunity to serve him as long as he did. I frankly will miss Marshall. I know as you read this, he is worshiping at the feet of Christ, free of pain, fear, and paralysis. He's truly living after tremendous suffering.